Well, good morning. This is Grumpy Dave. Nice weather, 51 degrees, chilly. We had some rain come through. So basically, this is my favorite word of the day. We're going to cut the floor out on the driver's side now. The tunnel section, the section of the floor that I just put in has to come back out. I miscalculated. Plus I have to make some new cuts. So the first thing we're going to do is set up. I'll have to pull the rack out of the way. Then I'll show you the setup, and then I will climb inside the engine compartment with the cutoff wheel. Just dropping the bolts down to hold it in place. You don't want this puppy landing on the top of your foot. Right now, I think it's best to put this back inside. It's just pinned in. I'm not actually hooking up the spline to the universal because the idea is just to know where it falls, not to have it in alignment. The height's the important part here when we get back to the mock-up stage. And this way I can get it on and off quickly. So now we're almost set. I'll show you the inside. There's the cutout. Got to trim the floor I just put in. I got to trim out the footwell I just built. And we got to cut out that panel. It's easier to cut the whole panel and move it than to try to grind my welds out because it take forever. So what I do is I use plain old ruler, some primer to highlight the areas so I can make my measurements on it. See how well that stands out. And I'll put this in here. I may need it, I may not. I'll just get it out of the way. I know I'll need these. I got to put the lines in on the box. We're going to start the first cut here. Up and over and straight down, and I'll get under, knock it off at an angle. This piece will fall out, and then we'll go inside the car and reduce it. Zimi the shop dog once in the house already. I didn't think she'd stay out here. It's wet and cold, and she's already wet and cold. Yeah, I love these touchpad phones. There. Now we can get back to work. Usually she's out here with me 100%, but when it's windy or rainy or cold, she'll come out for a little bit, and then she wants to go back in and sit in the chair with mommy where it's warm and wait for me to come in. Then she'll sit on my lap. So we'll get set up here. Try to figure where the best camera angle would be, so you can actually watch the work in progress. Just move that out of the way like that. There. once these two cuts are made, okay, get the cord out of the way here. And we'll go tripping up the ladder. Both sides will be opened up and ready to accept the transmission. And then we'll do the cross member, which I'm going to be working on after this. And then I will get ready to set everything up. Friday my jack's supposed to be here, so Saturday the transmission goes up in. We'll try to fit the cross member. The front end will be molded to the mock-up block, which will be sitting on the cross member here with the wood spacer underneath it for the height. And then we'll play adjust. Gonna have to cut the fender wells for the exhaust. As much as I hate to do it that way, there's no way of doing it unless I totally replumb the steering, and I'm not in the mood to do that on this project. I'm already behind the 8 ball on time. They got to make larger engine compartments for us older guys to work in. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get. There we go. Now this side's got to match this side, so it comes back to here. And this is where I messed up last time. I didn't compensate. This piece came back over. It's supposed to be the other direction. It hits the there. I only need about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. I took 1 1/4 inches. I'll have to slice and dice this whole section out. I'll just throw it back on the battery tray shelf. Sorry about that. My allergies are going nuts today. Probably because of the rain. So we'll cut this out, and then I'll come underneath here and I'll trim this same angle. Then we'll go inside, we'll slice the floor, the down piece, and then I'll come across the top where it's got the line on it here, and we'll take this panel out and put it back on the battery tray along with this panel. And the transmission will come in on the new jack that won't flop the car over if it knocks the stand out. Comes straight up and down, and the transmission is chained to it. We'll raise it up in position, and then I can marry it to the LS block, the mock-up, and then we can set the cross member in the position of it and get it dialed in. Once the cross member's dialed in, the welder comes over and he wants to do the motor mounts himself, so I told him I won't even fabricate anything to it. I don't know what he's got planned, so don't mess with him. I did find some rust underneath this aluminum panel here. It's no big deal. I'm going to be cutting it out and replacing it. I'm going to be putting some more metal in, and then I got to do some grinding on some sharp edges. I'm trying to debate on what to do with the engine color in here. MG's maroon color, which that's a no-brainer. And then we have an orange or a gray for the car. I'm really thinking about the gray. And I got a ton of grinding and sanding and cleaning and the fiber wheels and the flap attacks and a little bit of sand and some primering and some more sanding and some more primering, and then run some seam sealer around and hit it with the seams with the primer, followed by paint. Right here, this cuts off. There's a metal plate that'll come down here, and then this will have a plate on it, and then it'll be tucked in to this height right here, and away she goes to give me the room I need. It's that simple. This shifted over when I was shooting with some self-tappers, and I didn't put the level back on to make sure it was over where it belonged. It got shifted over somehow, and with the panel screwed in place, he didn't check it. He just assumed everything was good because he knows I double check everything, which I failed that time. So let's try to do the first cuts here. Little slice and dice there. Kind of over carried a little bit to get the angle I needed. A touch with the welder will fix that. I'll get down here and do the connection. This piece will come off, and then we'll go inside and open up this side, and then I'll show you the inside by taking the cover off and looking in it, how we've opened all this up. For the transmission pan where the valve body is as wide as the bell, so I have to make a little compensation, which is fitting the car to the transmission, not the other way around. Damn, there's a little bit of metal left there. Once this is cut out, we'll just pick up our line, run it down, run it up, run it back. And like I say, we'll put these on the battery shelf, all these pieces go back on in a different position. Don't waste anything. You don't have to buy anything. Trying to think of what this screw's here for, but it doesn't need to be there. You can see what this is. We'll get this opened up as soon as I get myself out of here. That's the only trouble. Raise this thing up 24.5 inches off the ground on the rocker height to clear the transmission and the jack. David has to use a ladder to get in and out. That's a good cut right there. Good cut. And we'll get set up here. I may have to cut some more of it from the, don't know yet. I think we will do the undercut first. There, sorry about you probably saw my head, but there's that cut. Now this cut's next. We'll go inside the car for that one, for the bulk of it anyway. And then we will have an opening to show you that is large enough to accommodate the 4L60E. Yeah, my brand new replacement shoulder does not like cold weather. It's aching pretty bad this morning, people. I'll just get over it. Excuse me here while I crawl around on the ground for a minute. Give this a good view here. There's the piece we're going to cut out next. And there's really no way I can get the camera in position where you can watch this because I don't have a camera person. So I'll do the cutting. And then when the cutting is done, I'll come back and show you what we have done. I think it'd be the best way to do it because the time I squeeze up in there with the grinder, there's going to be no way to get that camera in a position to see anything where it's not at risk of getting hit by the flying stuff off of the coming out perfect. Coming out perfect. This pedal will get heated right here and bent over and brought over just a smidge. So it'll be up here. You step down or I'll go there. So it's not going to be a problem. Get a good cut here. Straight cut up over, and it's going to be kind of hard to cut it on camera. So people, get your build on. Have a blessed day. And we'll be back as soon as I get done with hiding in this corner where you can't see me with the camera, cutting that out. I'll show you everything.